Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are on a quest here to meet some wonderful people, characters, if you will. Fred Beaver, Farmer Smith. We have Barley and Iris Miller, Early Worm, Oliver Otter, who showed up last time we got together with him. He's the author of a fantastic book called Jack Sprout in Beaver Creek Meadow. And the author has been walking us through the journey of writing this book, many decades in the process, and also included a music CD and also a video game for kids. And it's a great read. Jack Shoop is the author. He's our professional of the year, and he's back with us. Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Hey, hi, Steve. Nice to be with you again.
You too. And I just want to share with everybody that this is a book not just including characters from a garden, but there are a lot of important principles and lessons to be learned within this book. And I really think you did a great job of making it fun, but also informative at the same time.
Yeah, I call I really enjoyed reading it to you because you're picking out the right points. You're picking out the points that I'm trying to emphasize, and it's kind of a fun education. I call it. It's educational, but it's not by the book like a state would want you to hit all the little points. But it's fun, but you're learning along the way, and I think that's a natural way of learning, and that's kind of what we're doing here.
And even though it's a fictitious story, a lot of the principles are real in terms of what goes on in a meadow. And you could have done, Jack is a character drawn, but you could have included other illustrations, but you didn't. There are actual real pictures in the book. You can see the otters right there.
Yeah, I used real animals because that's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about cartoon animals. I'm talking about animals that really dig burrows and, really climb trees and all that stuff.
I love the fact that a lot of this translates to names of the characters and the situations, your life along the way. So let's find out. There's a term called "let's raise the roof." Raise the roof. Well, we are in a way.
Right.
It's Jack Sprout's house raising in Chapter 8.
Yeah. Okay. So the last, we met Oliver Otter and we got the river rock, and this is a sample of the river rock that Jack brought it back. And these are some other characters that are going to be in this story. This is Cobley, the mink, who was the artist. And it's kind of funny because in the story, the mink's sitting on a limb. So when I went to Shutterstock to get the pictures, I found a mink sitting on a limb.
Wow.
So that was kind of a made to order deal. And this is Dr. Ann Wheatfield, who's the robin. She's the professor, teaches about eating the right foods and so on. And this is a picture of High Mountain Harry. We talked about him a little bit later. So he lives high on a mountain and he don't like people bothering him. And this is the songbird honeybee. So in this chapter, Jack's been gathering all his knowledge. You can see this is 12 chapters and he hasn't even planted any food yet. So there's a lot to learn about being a farmer before you even plant seeds. So he needs a house. So this is an example. I got a lot of this from my grandparents. My grandparents were born in the 1800s, and they were farmers. And this story is real stuff that really happened back then, and it does to some extent now. But when you're going to build something, a barn, a house, a shed, you get the neighbors to come help you. And that's a lesson we're going to learn today is that when you get a lot of people to help you, a lot of neighbors, you can get things done. So that's kind of the lesson that goes through there. I'm going to read a lot of this because it's kind of detailed. But here we go, okay? So in Chapter 7, Oliver Otter told me where to find the river rocks for my greenhouse floor. It wore me out loading all those round, smooth rocks. Hard work never hurt anyone is what I've been told around here. So that's kind of a general theme. Now I was ready to build my farm. I had the river rock, lumber, glass floor, copper pipes, woodworkers, seed soil expert, and heavy lifters. I hurried over to Pierre Latrue's power paddle to see if he had drawn up the plans for my farm. Hi, Jack Sprout. Good to see you. Did you get the river rock? I sure did. It's the hardest work I've ever done. That's okay. Your farm will be worth all the hard work when it's finished. I think you'll like the plans I'm drawing for you. Here, let me lay them out. Finally, I get to see what my farm will look like. He laid out the plans and we looked them over. Pierre had drawn lines, angles, numbers, and arrows in all sorts of directions for a builder to follow. But I'm not a builder. I couldn't make heads or tails out of the drawings. I can't tell anything from these plans. Pierre, I want to see a picture. Well, you better get an artist because I can't paint a picture. I can see the farm in my head, but I can't paint either. There's an artist that the Dragonfly glass floor One Long uses to design his stained glass windows. He creates beautiful scenes of the countryside and will be able to paint you a picture from these plans. He's a skinny brown mink we call Cobbly. He wears a red beret and carries around a paintbrush or two. Cobbly came here a couple of years ago and has added a lot of color to Beaver Creek Meadow. His burrow is in the West Woods next to Westside Creek, just north of Dr. Ann Wheatfield's. Hurry, let's get this show on the road. I took a shortcut and found Cobbly's sign that said Artist in Residence. I knocked on the door, but there was no answer. I knocked again and still no answer. So I yelled, "Hey, Cobbly, Cobbly, hey, Cobbly." Then from overhead, I heard, "Hey, quit yelling, will you? I'm trying to think up here." Looking up, I saw a furry critter lying flat on a branch overlooking the meadow. "What are you doing up there?" I asked. "I'm watching the meadow, trying to get some inspiration. One Long needs a new design for the glass window he's making for Sawdust Miller's redwood tree home. He has a wide view of the redwood forest, so the design has to be awesome." "What are you doing anyway? What are you running around for?" "You should have taken Old Pal Road. It's much shorter." "I'm in a big hurry. I'm Jack Sprout. Are you Cobbly?" "That's what they call me." "I need a picture of my farm. Can you look at these drawings Pierre Latrue made and paint a picture of my farm?" "I can't paint a picture from a bunch of lines," said Cobbly. "Well, I have the whole picture in my head," I said. "How about I tell you what I want and you paint it?" "Sounds like a plan. You've already ruined my inspiration time, so we might as well get started." Cobbly came out of his tree and picked up his color palette, easel, and brush. He pulled his favorite painting stump over and said, "I'm ready, Jack Spout. Start daydreaming." "All right. My farmland is all meadow grass with two big oak trees. Beaver Creek is on the north side and the east woods are on the east side. I want a big farmhouse with lots of rooms and windows, a big kitchen, and an upstairs. Most importantly, I want a big wide porch that goes all the way around the house. I want to be able to see all my crops in all directions. The two large oak trees will provide me shade, and I want the greenhouse connected to the farmhouse, and I'll need a windmill." "That gives me some ideas," said Cobley. "Let me have a moment. I'll see what I can do." "You know Pierre's going to tell you what to do anyway." "I know, but he knows what he's doing." It wasn't long before Cobley had painted my ideas into a fantastic picture of a beautiful farm. "Hey, that looks just like I had in mind. You're really good." I said, "Thanks. Will you come help us build my farm?" "I'll be there to help you paint. I can't risk smashing my artist's hands and fingers with a hammer. You understand?" "Yeah, I understand." I ran back to Meadow and handed Pierre Latrue the picture that Cobley had drawn of my new farm. "I can see what you want now, Jack Sprout. I'll place your buildings along the path the sun takes crossing your farm. That's how my passive solar design works. Now go round up the neighbors. We're ready." That was great news, but there was no way I could round up all the neighbors in one day. I saw Kenneth, the gray and white carrier pigeon, sitting on the railing of Beaver Creek Bridge. I asked him if he knew of a way to tell all the neighbors about my house raising party the very next day. "That's what I do best," said Kenneth. "That's why I always sit here on the bridge. Everyone comes by and tells me things. Sometimes I think I know too much. I'll get a couple of other pigeons to help, and we'll tell everyone by tonight. Don't worry, Jack Sprout. The whole community will be there. You're our new farmer, and we've been wishing you, and we're ready to help." That's the idea, right? That's the spirit. Everybody gets together and helps.
Mm.
The next morning, I was up early and the sun rose over the northeast forest to show a clear blue sky. A cool pine-scented breeze drifted down from the mountains, and all the meadow birds were singing. There were just the right number of fluffy clouds floating by so it wouldn't get too hot. I came out of my cabin, and as I went into the meadows, I heard lots and lots of shouting. All of Beaver Creek Meadow was already there. You gonna sleep all day, Jack Sprout? Let's get to work. We're burning daylight. Pierre Latrue drew a line on the ground where the path the sun crossed my farmland. Then we laid out the plans and we all went to work. So much went on that day that if I told you everything, I'd never get around to farming. I'll tell you who did what, and you can imagine the rest. As you know, Pierre Latrue was in charge. He told us what to do and when to do it. If there was a question, they'd ask him. If Pierre had a question, he'd ask me. That's how it went all day. The moles, gophers, and prairie dogs started by digging the foundation for the farmhouse and the greenhouse. Farmer Smith and Mrs. Farmer Smith had invited a whole colony of their prairie dog buddies to help in the fun. We put silver oak lumber from Sawdust Miller's sawmill next to the building site. This wood was very special to me. Fred Beaver had chopped down the trees for me because I'd helped to save his dam from breaking apart. Fred and Sawdust framed the walls and the roof with the silver oak lumber. Then Whoopie, Stretch, and the other long-necked shorebirds lifted them into place. It seems like he always has the right amount of friends to do the right amount of jobs. The porch went all the way around the farmhouse with small lodgepole pines for railings. They left openings for the windows and the skylights in the roof, which was part of the passive solar design. My Mountain Harry worked up on the roof, of course. He built a chimney from the rocks he had brought down from his mountain cave. No one went up to help him. It was way too dangerous. That was okay with Harry. He liked working along. He didn't have time for us rookies anyway. The greenhouse was also framed with silver oak lumber and ready to be covered with glass windows. The colorful dragonfly and master glassblower, Juan Long, made a big open fire. Using the ancient art of his ancestors, he melted sand and rolled out the smoothest, bubble-free glass you'd ever seen. In each corner of the windows, Cobley painted a small picture of what he saw through the window. Rainbows, flowers, streams, pheasants, meadow, woods, all the beautiful scenes surrounding my farm. To my surprise, Oliver Otter and Captain Barry were spreading the river rock from Big River around the greenhouse floor. Hey, I thought you guys didn't throw river rock, I shouted. We don't usually, said Captain Barry. We just really want to help you build your farm. This is fun. Besides, back on Big River, we wanted to see if you were a hard worker or not. You passed the test, so now we're here to help you. It's looking good. You'll be farming soon. At lunchtime, everyone gathered around the picnic table loaded with food. Captain Barry brought some of his berry special jams, flavored macadamia nuts, and a pot of green tea from his home in the West Woods. The colorful and loud red leghorn rooster, Rooster Russell, was there to help tell us all about what had been happening down on Coloco Bayou. He liked to crow a lot, but he had a lot of great stories about the life in the wetlands. We all said thanks, and I told everyone how grateful I was for their help. This isn't our first house raising, you know, said Grandma Elderberry. We get together every time someone in our meadow needs help. It's a lot of work, but we have fun and get to know each other. It's okay to depend on each other, right? That's right, Grandma Elderberry said. When a large, friendly shadow passed slowly over our tables, we knew Redtail McAllister was watching over his Beaver Creek meadow. The elegant Professor Robin, Dr. Ann Wheatfield, was there. Dr. Wheatfield had discovered that sprouting seeds was another way to eat healthy food. This is relating to Dr. Ann, I even forgot her real name now. Dr. Ann, who I met a long time ago, and she's the one that started sunflower sprouts and sprouting the whole wheatgrass, the whole venture. Dr. Ann Wigmore. Anyway, so this is with respect to her. That's one of the reasons Beaver Creek Meadow needs me here. She told us a lot about different foods, juices, and herbs to eat to keep us healthy and strong. It seems we're always learning something. There were stories of other farms that had been built and the fun they'd had living in Beaver Creek Meadow. I felt like a part of the community now. I felt like I finally belonged. I was as important to them as they were to me. So that's a good lesson right there as to, you want to feel like you were part of something wherever you live. And this is one way to be a part of something by helping your neighbors. When we were done eating, we put the food scraps where early worms workers could find them when they came to leave their worm castings in my fields. Just then, I saw a figure walking towards us through the meadow from the south. It was a tall, proud, and extremely colorful parrot. His feathers were red, blue, green, and orange, with a row of bright yellow feathers down the middle of his head. This is a guy I really met. This guy walked up to me when I was working in Hawaii, and he looked just like I explained. And he's an artist. Snake Jagger is an artist, and he had a yellow mohawk, and that started a good, lifelong friendship. That was
Wow.
back in early 70s. So yeah, if you ever want to look at some realistic art, Snake Jagger, and he's got a really interesting story. He used to do lip syncs, and that's why they call him Jagger. And his dad was a valet for Frank Sinatra. So Sinatra's properties were always well kept. And if you look at Snake's paintings, everything is perfectly in place. So this parrot is a tribute to Snake Jagger. Cheers, mate, said the parrot. The carrier pigeon Kenneth told me about your house raising party. My name is Parrot Jaggers. My friend called me P. Jaggers. I've come from my home in the desert canyons to help. And Snake Jagger also lived in the desert for a while in a tent just to see what it was like. I said hello and welcomed me to our party. I didn't even know anyone lived in the desert, I said. Why do you live where it's so hot and dry? Well, it's kind of a long story. I used to be a pirate's parrot, and we sailed all the oceans. Our ship sank during a wild, windy storm just off the coast. I was caught up in a jet stream and blown all the way to the desert just south of Beaver Creek Meadow. I've learned to love living out in the wild. The desert is a really fun, busy place, especially when we all come out at night. My job is to take care of the desert plants. We get a lot of our medicine from those thorny, dried up, crazy looking plants. My home is in the top of a giant fan palm tree in a long, winding, rocky canyon. The canyon has cool running stream and even cool breezes. You must come see it sometime. Sounds like fun, I said. I'll be sure to come see you. I want to learn more about the desert. P. Jaggers joined us as we all got back to work so we could finish before dark. The gophers, moles, and prairie dogs dug a deep well and a long trench to Beaver Creek. The tall wooden windmill built by Fred and Sawdust was lifted into place by Whoopi, Stretch, and a crew of long-necked shorebirds. Barley and Iris Miller set up my kitchen with a big baking table under a skylight. For a housewarming gift, Iris brought me a fancy bird cage with a big front door. Thanks, Iris, I said, but I don't have a bird. You just leave the door open, Jack Sprout. You never know what will happen. Aunt Jerry and Uncle Dale told me to come to visit their honey farm as soon as I planted my crops. They told me about 100 times that day. Uncle Dale reminded me that my new farm wouldn't be a success without his farm. I still don't know what he meant. My farmhouse and greenhouse were built, except for the little stuff I could finish myself. We sat back quietly, admiring our work, while the sun set over the west woods and the moon rose over the east woods. Then, out of the quiet of the night, came a lovely song. a song that could have only been sung by the beautiful yellow canary, Honey Bee. We barely caught a glimpse of her perched high on a limb of one of my oak trees. She sang a concert of wonderful songs about the mountains, prairies, and meadows. What a great way to end a perfect day. That night, I went to my cabin in the East Woods, grabbed my blanket, my favorite pillow, and went back to sleep in my wonderful new farmhouse. I started out as a sunflower seed planted in Farmer Smith's sunflower field. Now here I was in my own farmhouse. Beaver Creek Meadow had wished for a new farmer, and starting tomorrow morning, they'd have one.
Mm.
Sounds like a nice place to be, huh? Got a warm day.
Yeah. with people that support you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all wanting him to get farming so they can have delicious food to eat and keep strong so they can do their work.
You know, in your experience, observations, have animals of different species supported each other at some point?
Yeah, I think they do. I saw a video the other day of a bird pumping another bird's chest. This is real. This is live. This is live. A dead bird. It wasn't dead, but a bird was laying on the ground, and this other bird was jumping on top of him, pumping his chest to bring him alive. Animals in the ocean have symbiotic relationships all the time. You know that, right? Uh, the some animals clean the barnacles off of
Yes. Yeah.
well,
Off a whale, right. Yeah.
yeah, and then in the pastures you'll see egrets, white egrets, will be riding on the back of cows, you know, eating the bugs off of them, and then a lot of animals use each other's burrows. One will leave and the other will come in and use their burrow. So they help each other that way. And they all kind of interact. That's funny, you can see, it's not funny, but I mean, you've seen pictures of water buffalo eating at a water hole. And a lion will come and jump on one of them. And the rest of them don't even quit drinking.
Yeah.
You know? It's just part of the scene, and you can see pictures of this animal will be like 20 feet away from this animal, and this animal can kill this animal and eat it. But the guy goes, no, I can protect myself, So they relate to each other all the time. And it's just that, I live in Kentucky here where they breed a lot of horses, and you just see when the babies are born, how the mother takes care of the baby. And then after about 6 months, she don't want nothing to do with them. So their life cycle is way laid out. They all have their jobs to do and their life cycle. And I think that, the way that animals take care of their babies in their cages, or the possums or the squirrels, yeah, they take care of each other a lot. And it's just natural.
Just got a moment left before we run out of time, but what inspired you to write chapter 8 and, house raising? I mean, it's based on a human situation where everybody comes together to raise the walls of the house and such. What was your inspiration for that chapter?
Well, I mean, he needed a house, right? So he was living in a little shack that he had built out of the woods. So he needed a house. But I'll tell you the truth, my grandparents, you can't talk about your grandparents without getting emotional, right?
Gotcha.
My grandparents, like I said, I'm from Iowa, and my grandparents, both sets grew up before electricity and, tractors, and before electricity. They farmed with horses, when they started out. And that was such a, they all knew each other and helped each other, where they were friends or foes or whatever. They would help each other. They're farmers. They're competing with crops and cows and all that, but they helped each other. And I don't know. I just love that whole idea of everybody jumping in and helping everybody to do one thing and it gets done. If we all jumped in and helped everybody do one thing, that thing will get done, whatever it is, and then we can go on to the next thing. So I don't know. I always loved those stories. Grandpa would go out and hitch up the 14 horses and go out and do the field work, and then they bring in the corn or they bring in the wheat or whatever it was. And there was a lot of community back then. Amongst all the neighbors and the farmers. So I really relate to it that way from the stories I heard growing from there. They'd go into town on the horse and buggy and they would trade eggs and milk for thread and buttons. And
Oh, yeah. Where'd you say your grandparents were from?
Iowa, central Iowa.
Iowa?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Corn, soybeans. It's all total farming. And, they, like I said, they would trade milk and eggs for thread and buttons.
Yeah.
And
You bring back memories to my grandmother. It was a whole different way of life. Everybody supported each other in every way. There was, people weren't, as they do today, comparing themselves because of social media to others. And they just supported. Hey, what do you need? What do I need? Good for you. You've got more than I do. Okay, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you. Today, it's kind of not like that. Unfortunately. There's a lot of comparison. Yeah. And I heard a great quote. Comparison steals joy. Comparison steals joy. When you start comparing yourself to others. Yeah. So many great things.
You're right. Like, I'm better. Somebody will tell a story and then somebody else has to tell a better story,
Yeah, exactly. Nobody tells a story like you do. Got to tell you.
No, that's the best right there.
Yeah, it's right in this book. And it's great for kids. If you're an educator, a parent, check the book out, or even at the very least, make a suggestion that it's included in the educational itinerary for your schools. It's Jack Sprout in Beaver Creek Meadow, and you can find it on Amazon, certainly on the website too, which, do I have this right? jacksprout.com?
Yeah, jacksprout.com, or if they have any ideas of how they want to use Jack Sprout, or they want to use it in their studies or in their products, jack@jacksprout.com is my email. And I'm getting a lot of, I'm getting some feedback on people wanting to know how do I get, it's basically a company on the ground floor. So if somebody wants to get involved, whether it be a animated, character, or maybe a picture book or whatever they want to do, this is the time to do it because it's wide open and anybody, so jack@jacksprout.com, you can get hold of me.
Beautiful. Jack, thank you so much for today and all the insight. Just a great book. Really is.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.